Hi, and welcome back to That's So Nova. You're here for another sewing tutorial for the brand new pattern that's coming out from Ora Rosa, the Arianne bucket bag. Tonight, I'm going to be trying a couple of different new angles so that you can get up close, more personal to see how I sew, as well as I'm trying to do a couple things that won't make the video as long, because I know sometimes when you watch tutorials, you're like, I don't want a 2-hour video. I completely understand because I have a very short attention span myself. I usually pause and then come back to the video if I need to. So I went over some steps already that we have covered with previous Ora Rosa bags, as well as we're going to focus on the fades. Like, I want to think of the meat and potato to get this bag together. Now, the Arianne bucket bag is a very lush new take on a bucket bag. I'm so happy that I was privileged to test it and to come out with this. The backpack on the cover is so gorgeous. It's so soft and so luxurious looking. I like this bucket bag because it is different. It's a different take on it. You're gonna see there's hardware on the side that helps secure the bag in place to give it a nice, more secure finish. There is a magnetic snap inside, and this bag is just amazing. You have your nice straps on the back, and it comes in right underneath, right above. I apologize. No, yeah, right above this strap that helps secure the bag. Now, there is a hardware list that is on page 3. This pattern was drafted for a very soft vinyl or soft faux leather. It's meant to be slouchy on the top, and there's hidden connectors in the back. This is not recommended to use, very structured stuff. And I kind of went on the opposite. I seen this beautiful suede. It's called Paris. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to use it. It still has that slouchy effect, but it does have a little structure. Tonight, I'm using just vinyl and what she exactly recommends to see if I'm able to achieve the new, different slouchy effect. But I like this because it doesn't use a lot of interfacing, but it has like amazing results. There's little purse feet. So I'm going to put this on the side, and we're going to try one of our new angles, and we'll get started. So this is going to be the sewing angle that we're going to use on, so that you can see me sew my stitches and what I do with, like, what I do to I guess basically so how I maneuver. You see my hands and how with the stitch length and whatnot. Tonight, because I'm using vinyl, this is the 5550 Juki is a domestic, basically kind of like a domestic machine with just a motor in it, so that I still have to use the domestic foot. There's no this is not a walking foot machine, so we're gonna have some fun, and hopefully you can learn some tips and tricks around the way. And this will be the other view that you will see when I'm showing, like punching out holes, or when I am measuring things, you will see this view. I'm hoping these two views can tremendously help people that are trying to do this, doing this project, and they want to get that more up close feeling. So I'm hoping these views help. If they don't, can you please comment? If they do, please comment, so that way I know that I'm helping people, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what I want to do. So in the pattern, whenever I do a pattern, I usually have like I take, whenever my kids don't use their Crayola markers, I highlight areas that I think are super important to me, so that way I can remember when I'm doing it. You do your cutout, you have your cut chart, cut all your pieces, interface all your pieces, and then you can come back to this video. There is a really cool tip that Brandy from, I will put her YouTube in there. She has this really cool tip where she uses a heat erasable marker or pen when she's checking things off on her list, and then that way when she's done, she can iron and it's all completely new, so she's not reprinting the same thing over and over again. And I think that is like pretty cool. So we're going to be going over handles, front panels, lock straps, overlay connectors, bottoms, the whole 9 yards. I'm really excited. So the first things first is with the front panel. There's a really cool method that Alexis has where you paint some of the interfacing, and it helps achieve a more slouchier effect. If you made her Estrella bag, then you will know that pinking and Decoville light is like Alexis's thing. So I'm really excited. We're going to be using some fabric that's coming out from BackStitch Fabric on December the 3rd today, and it is really cute. I love this print. It has Chuck and Sloth from the Goonies on it, and I am super excited. I'm a huge Goonie lover, as you probably could tell on my t-shirt. That I'm really into just fantasy movies. So interface all your pieces and not knock over stuff like me. Interface all your pieces, and we're gonna get this party started. Okay, you're going to have, the first thing you're going to have is for your connectors. You're going to take the measurements, put a piece of double-sided tape and fold it down, and then you're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch going down. For giggles, for a little bit of look, I do her signature going 1/8 of an inch at 3/8 of an inch on both sides, just because I like the way it looks. I put the hardware in it and I clip it so when it's ready to go, it's ready to go. Then we're going to do the handles. The handles are very much the same. You have your piece of fabric. You're going to draw a line down the center, put some double-sided tape, and you're going to butt up the ends, and you're going to sew 1/8 of an inch from the top and the bottom, leaving long tails, because when you leave long tails, we're going to tie them off. So I'm going to show you how we're going to tie them off. You're going to need your handle and some fray check. And you can use a stiletto or you can use a pin. You're going to take the strings from the long tails that you left on both sides, and you're going to bring them, you're going to pull them out and have them go in the inside. Okay, you're going to have them go in the inside, and then you're going to triple knot or quadruple knot, whatever you wish to do, and not break the strings off. When you're done with your knot, you're going to put some fray check. Of course it wants to clog now. Normally it's just like pouring out. Put some fray check. Put your top back on so you don't have fray check all over it. And snip the ends. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're just pulling the threads from the inside. On the out. And I'm just pulling both of them. As soon as this little loop wants to come in. This could be this is always like a really weird process for me because it depends on the thread. I'm using Gutterman because it was the closest one that I liked that matches this. Usually I like to use a contrasting thread, but I was like, let's have a matching thread because there's a lot of colors in my the print that I'm using, so I thought matching the handles and the solids would be really key in my when I'm making a bag. Cut tails, spray check the knot that you made, and then we're just going to stick our handles to the side. Then we are going to prepare the straps. You take the pieces, you fold them in half, leave a 1/8 of an inch gap, and then you top stitch it 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And it's similar to any other strap that we've ever done. The last thing one of the last things we're going to top stitch is the lock strap. Now, the lock strap is a certain measurement, which is in the pattern, and then you're going to fold it on each other and do 1/8 of an inch. You're going to wind up putting your turn lock on one of the ends towards the end of the pattern. However, I put mine in the beginning because I'm using a different kind of turn lock. And the reason why I'm using something a little bit different is because if you watch the Goonies, you realize that there's a key and it's shaped really awkward. So when I seen this turn lock, I was like, this is perfect for the Goonies fabric because there's a key to get into the area where One Eye Willie has the ship. If you haven't seen the Goonies, I highly recommend it. So what I had to do, because this, oh no, okay, because this is a certain measurement, this turn lock did not come out where I have to punch it. So I deducted that amount to make sure it was exactly the amount that Alexis said. So that way it can account for, I think this is like 1.5 inches. Okay. So our next, we're going to make the overlay strap. And I have that semi-prepared for us. Let's see. I just had it. I was playing around with it because I just put the double-sided tape. One moment. I apologize. I hate when you feel like you have everything together and then something just magically goes missing. Let's see. And there it is. Okay. So we're on page 12. I'm going to move my double-sided tape and we're going to do the measurements on the strap overlay that is required in the pattern. I'm just using my Westcott ruler that I get off of Amazon. They're really cheap. They're like $2-3, and there are like a fancier version that what is this name of this company? There's another company that makes rulers similar, which is not on here. There's another one that's a little bit fancier. I think it costs like $4 or $5. I think the most I've ever paid for one is $8 because it was a one that has like these really cool things for quilting that I like using. We're going to put where we're going to cut right here. When you use this, if you use a erasable pen, I am using a dark blue so you can see. She has us cutting these edges because it helps reduce bulk and gives it a cleaner finish. Okay, and then we're going to put some double-sided tape once I can find on the edges of each piece. Okay. So then we're going to remove the double-sided tape. And we're going to put in long edges first to the line. And finger press that. And do the same thing on this side. Finger press it. See how it comes out like miter corners? Like, it's really cute. it reduces bulk tremendously. So we're going to top stitch just the short ends at 1/8 of an inch. I'm using a 2.5 stitch, and just make sure you back stitch. And not actually cut the fabric. I have done that twice today where I'm like sewing and I just like accidentally cut the fabric. And I'm like, great. That hard work is for nothing. Okay, so we top stitch that. And then on page 13, we're going to go back and we're going to take the main back panel. Make sure if it's directional, this is key. Do not try to start at the wrong end or you're going to get super frustrated with yourself. Okay. We are going to measure down what Alexis has. Okay, and just like take your time with the measuring. Like, it's easier to measure something and make a mistake. Let's see. Okay, sorry, I'm measuring everything up. And then there's measurements on each side to make sure everything is lined up perfectly. And just make a mark there. I'm using a pen. I wouldn't recommend it, but I want you to be able to see. And I just want to make sure both sides so I find my center. Then we're going to grab our straps. The one thing, there's a lot of things I like about this pattern, but I like the fact that you put on the straps first because it kind of makes you feel that you're already done with the back. I know that sounds weird, but that's what I feel. I'm like, yeah, I'm one step closer to the bag being finished. Okay, give me, of course I'm missing one strap. Give me 1 second as I reorganize myself. Let's see. Handles. Let me get the straps. All right, so we're going to again measure, measure a million times, whenever you feel secure. Then measure into the centers, which is the pattern divided in half on both sides to make sure you have the right thing, right size. I put double-sided tape so that way when we do this next step of connecting the straps, that everything just lines up nicely. Pressing that down. Okay, so in the pattern, Alexis asked for you to do like a zigzag stitch on the straps. Now, if I was on my Bernina, I could do it, but because this machine's a straight machine, I'm going to make a couple boxes going back and forth to connect these seams. And let's bring this over here. So what I'm going to do is you're going to sew a few boxes just to connect the seams. You can back stitch. I'm going to put my needle down, pivot, needle down, and what you're basically trying to achieve is a straight stitch, zigzag stitch. It doesn't have to be pretty because it's going to be covered up, but it just needs to be necessary to make sure that these straps stay together. We're going to be putting rivets to make sure that they do, but it's just extra reinforcement and there's nothing wrong with that. And then I'm going to cut my tails. And then I'm going to draw a box. Well, not a box, a line on each area in the center where I'm going to make a box. I'm going to make a rectangle box and then we're going to put some rivets in it just to give it the extra stability. There's a lot of riveting happening in this bag and it's like awesome. I love rivets. If you have a thing, just squish it, it'll be fine. Alright. Cutting the trimming down the threads. And we just have like a nice zigzag stitching, and then we have a rectangle box for extra security and reinforcements. Alright. So we're going to rivet in the center. I mean, the center towards the edge of each one, so that you get out your hole punch. If you have a manual one, this will work perfectly. Or if you have a punch that's like the handheld one, it works great. Other than that, if you're like me, you're gonna have to kind of squish it, and it's okay. It'll be okay. As long as I don't punch a hole through all the layers that I'm squishing, I'm good. And I'm squishing it down some more, getting it down over here. There's different rivets mentioned in the pattern because depending on the thickness that you have, you may need different rivets. as you can see, I keep keeping my handles rolled up because it just makes it easier throughout the bag. That way they're just not hanging and they're not loose in your way. Just rolled it up with a couple clips and call it a day. Getting my Rivet Press out, and I got my press from Minkus and Margot from Etsy. They have like really great customer service, really good rivets, different dies. I love them a lot. Okay, so this part's done. And we're going to add our piece that's going to cover this. So what we're going to do is add double-sided tape on the long pieces. And not the area that you're actually going to top stitch. You're going to like leave that open so you don't have things gumming up. You don't have the double-sided tape gumming up your needle. You're kind of just putting on the edge of the long where the fold meets, so that way you can top stitch without having any issue. That thread. And we're about to put this overlay. I got a different double-sided tape, and I'm super not a fan of this one. I can't even remember where I got it, but I have to use it because I don't believe in like wasting. It just doesn't stick, but it does work on not gumming the needles up. You're going to lay this over the top. Center it really as best as you can. You're going to rub in that double-sided tape and see how like beautiful that is. Now we're going to top stitch right here across and right here, back stitching well on both the beginning and the end. Let me move my hole punch and let it not go far because we're going to be using it in a matter of moments. Oh, we're not going to back stitch. We're going to pull the threads to the back. I apologize. So you have nice tails. 1/8 of an inch. That's one, and then we're going to do the other side and have tails for that as well. Okay. And we're going to pull this to the back and pull those threads. You just kind of lift up one of the back threads and then the loop will come out, and then you just use a needle, a stiletto, whatever you have handy, and you're going to knot it. And once you knot it, you cut it. Just leave a little bit of a tail because we're going to, I like to take double-sided tape and just put it on top of it, or you can use spray check, whatever you have handy. When you do this, I know it feels like a long process, but I promise you it's so worth it because it looks so clean in the front. I keep losing my needle, my pen. Needs to be the last one over here. Okay. So you can do whatever. You could put fray check. I'll just put fray check because it is easier. Put fray check on these little areas where you put a knot, just to ensure. Not like this one particular fray check. It's like I have a love hate because sometimes it comes out too much, and then other times I'm just like, wow, nothing's coming out. All right, so we did that. So we're on page 14. We're going to punch holes in not between the threads, but like in the corner of each. As I'm squishing this, yeah, I'm really squishing. You gotta get comfortable squishing your back. Just squish it. I know it goes against everything that you're feeling, but it's gonna be worth it, I promise. Pull there. And this is why thinner fabrics work so much better, because you can squish it more. If the more structure, you're gonna have to use a handheld one. I'm almost there. Man, this one does not want to give. All right. All right. Let me get some rivets. As you can see, I mean, with these 4, we already put 6 in total. So, like I said, I personally like rivets because I feel like it's extra security. I'm pretty sure you do these with Chicago screws as well. I've only worked with Chicago screws once. I would like to try more because I see all these really cool decorative things that you could do with them, and I'm like, Okay, let me set them. All right. So that's all set nice, neat. We're going to get onto turning this back on its back. And we are going to be making the entry for the strap. So I'm going to grab I'm going to poke a hole. I'm going to poke a hole on this side where this part ends, so that way it can meet up. Just a small little hole, so that way I can see it on this side. I'm going to unravel this because it's kind of making the bulk a lot. So I'm going to lay this flat. So I see my little hole, and we're going to do the measurements to make the hidden slip panel without using a big fat marker. Okay. Making a backwards V. Whenever I do hidden connectors, I always get nervous. It is the funniest thing because you're so far in depth into this right now. I'm looking for, hold on, a cutting mat. I usually have one here. I am just like batting 1,000. I was like, yeah, I'm fully prepared. Blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I'm not. But I think that is a part of it. I'm going to grab this punching board and cut on it. And grab a ruler. And we're going to cut out the bottom slash. And I'm using a box cutter. Cutting out this V. Do not cut the top line or you're going to be upset. You're going to be like, I did everything for God. Alright, so we got that part done. We're going to be doing step 39. We're going to slide, make sure it's the right side that you want. Slide this strap in. And I'm going to pop a few pins or clips. I always say pins, it's always clips. Pin this. And we're going to sew on this edge where the first line is. Make sure you backstitch. Okay, that's about right. And then we are going to grab a needle and thread. I know this is not like people's highlight. Like they're like, no, I don't want to do that part. And I totally get it. Hand stitching is not for everybody. But with this method that Alexis does, it's totally worth to take the extra time and just do this because it helps keep everything in place. So I'm just taking some thread, making a knot real quick. And then I'm going to take these little flappy things, the V's, and stitch them kind of together. On this side. Just a few stitches. It doesn't have to be super neat. No one's going to see them because it's in the inside of the back, but it makes a difference. Okay, and I'm going to tie this off. So I can. Okay. All right, so we have the front now all done. and secure. So we're going to punch a hole. And I'm going to get my little marking tool for vinyl. It's like a tandy leather. It's just a tandy leather pen. I have like a million of them. They're like everywhere. And we are going to do this offload 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to do 1/4 of an inch this way as well. Just trying to make sure everything lines up. Take your time with it, like don't rush. There's not a race. I know sometimes it feels like it is, but there's not. It's about what you feel is accurate, and that's important. So again, I'm going to go punch a hole. It's easy, like I said, if you have a handheld punch where you're like stamping it, that will be like pure bliss. Matter of fact, I might do that for the center of this. And you're just punching a hole. And my drill bit just decided, hey, guess what? I'm going to come off. That happens to me way too many times. Okay. So again, getting some more rivets. This is like I said, this is a fun bag because you're going to be using a lot of rivets. It works out. Like, it makes the hugest difference. After this part, I'm telling you, you're going to be like, this bag comes together so fast. It's more about accuracy in this bag, but it is a really fast and good make. I'm just dropping rivets too. That's how I roll. Let me repunch these. Apparently, I did not get the leather. I mean, the vinyl in the back. Cap. And put the last rivet in. And then I'll wind up the cover tab. This is the last one. All right. Put this down. Roll these up because I don't want them to get caught when we sew the bag together. Okay, rolling this up too, and then I'm gonna roll this up, and then we're gonna place the handles on. Find the center, which this finding the center on each one of these is absolutely crucial. I drew the center on the inside, but having it on the outside is crucial too. Okay, so we're going to draw lines where the handle is going to be. Grab a handle. We're going to base, if this will stay together, that would be awesome. Base this in place. You could put some pins or clips in it if you wish. Or you could be like me and be like, I'm driving rogue. Now, driving rogue, there is not a good thing sometimes. Just keep that in mind. I'm going to put the handle on the other piece as well. I have my center mark, just doing the measurements. Follow Alexis's method. It works out so beautiful in the end. When you draw the line, you're putting your foot not towards it, but on the opposite side of the line. Cutting threads. Okay. Now we're going to baste and then rivet the back straps. Finding your center, doing the marks that Alexis says. Okay, the reason why I like these Westcott rulers, I've said it before and I'll say it again, is they have each square represents 1/8 of an inch. So it just like literally makes my life easier when I have to measure stuff, because I know exactly what it is and I'm not guessing. I'm kind of bad at measurements. Base these, and then we're going to punch holes and then rivet the top. And I think one of the other reasons why she wants you to use like a thinner leather or a thinner vinyl is because when you are putting the bottom of the base together, if it is a circular theme, and the less bulk you have there, the easier it would be for you to maneuver this bag and get it perfect circular. Okay. So then from there, we're going to install a magnet on both sides. There, in the instructions, we do have a piece where we put Decoville Light, and it's for the magnets. And what you're going to do is you're going to just stick your washer down where the measurement that she tells you and draw 2 little lines. And then you will make 2 little slits. And then you will put your your magnet. You're going to put your magnet on here, put your back. The prongs out. Grab some duct tape and put duct tape in the back. Duct tape helps secure from friction, but it also helps when you're turning the bag. I don't know about you, but I've always cut like myself on hardware, and this helps prevent that too. Okay. And then make sure you put the magnet on the other side too. Now we're going to put this bag together. Oh, it would help if I put rivets in the back thing where I'm not like, oh man. I said we were going to do it, and how quickly did I forget? Too quickly. Okay, calm down. The struggle is real. All right. Grab some rivets. Make sure I actually punch a hole through all the proper layers. again, punch holes where we're supposed to have them. And let's set these bad boys. Let's see. I'm just thinking, like today, like the perfect hole punch needs to come out. Because the struggle is real for me. Alright, so we're on page 17 and we're going to put these together. We're going to put some, put them together. We're going to use the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Whenever I do this, I just put a clip on the bottom and a clip on the top so that way, and I almost messed up. Make sure that you have the right pieces going in the right direction. Alright. Pop a few clips in there and we're going to have at it. I'm going to, because we're working with vinyl, I'm going to go to a 3. This blue tape is my 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, but I also drew it on my back because I like to draw to make sure that everything is nice and straight. And make sure you backstitch. Okay, so we're going to do some top stitching. I put double-sided tape on my seams so that I can, when I'm top stitching, I know I can fold them in and they're going to get caught correctly. You can do like what I call the pancake method where you finger press it straight and just lay it flat on the machine, especially if your machine is like nope to double-sided tape, because you know it's a hit or a miss, especially with needles. I know that they said there's like a non-stick needle. I've seen it. I've never used it. I thought it would be cool because it's supposed to help with vinyl and just like when you have like an area that has like glue or double-sided tape tremendously. All right, we're going to top stitch. We're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch down each seam. Now you can change. I'm going to go 3.5 for top stitching. I'm just going to go 1/8 of an inch down. And I'm just gauging off of my foot. And I'm going to go a couple stitches over and then go up on this side. And just roll. I know it's a lot of material, but it'll get easier, I promise. If I move my water, that'll be awesome. So it doesn't spill all over the floor. And like a contrasting stitch would have looked pretty on this, but I felt like that because the fabric has so much going on that it would just take away from the print. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're making this a tube. Clip. Clip. Okay. Pulling my threads back. 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And definitely back stitch a couple stitches because it's always good to back stitch. And I like the double-sided tape, especially for the side that we're going to be stitching inside the tube, because we're going inside the tube. So we're going to take it nice and slow, and just anything that can help us with this top stitching, because we're not going to have as much as access as we did on the first round, because we're going inside the tube. You can use a 1/8 of an inch tape too, so that way you can put it like on the top, and then you know it won't gum up your needles. All right. So this is awkward. I'm not gonna lie to you. But we got this. We could totally do it. I like to start where the handles are first, because that's where the most bulk is. We're gonna do 1/8 of an inch, and I just kind of push down the bag as I go. Stop with the needle down and just keep going. I know it's super awkward, I know, but you're at the end you're gonna be like, my bag is glorious. Okay, we're almost at the end. And so what I like to do is start at the, make sure my needle's down. And then I'm gonna pivot like I did the last time and go over like 1 or 2 stitches, and then I'm gonna go up. Again, this is why you don't need really stiff material, because this could be a really big hassle when you're top stitching. Okay, I know that was a little bit of a beast, but it was totally worth it. All right. So we did that part. We're going to put this aside for right now, and we're going to grab our vinyl pocket pieces. So you're going to have 1 piece of vinyl and then 1 piece of your interior fabric. I'm using this really smoky gray. It kind of looks green though, like it's a weird color. Gray waterproof canvas, and we're going to put them together at 3/8 of an inch. Now, this is the thing. If you have a print like me, you're going to want the print to face towards you, because when this flips and we take it back, it's going to show a little bit of head. If you have it the other way, it will show opposite direction. So just be cognizant of prints and how you want it to be done. So we're going to take it over to the machine and top stitch at 3/8 of an inch. Make sure you backstitch. See, my painter's tape is working really good. There is so many cool gadgets though for you to make sure you have the right seam allowance. There's magnets, there's like different cool stickers. I've seen this really cool laser. I was like, wow. All right, so I'm going to finger press this down. And let's see. Finger press this down, finger press the seam to lay flat towards the lining piece, and then we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. So you're not going to have the seam go towards the vinyl. You're having it go towards your main lining fabric piece, and then we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch. Okay, cut threads, and then we're going to bring this forward. Then fold the slip pocket underneath, match the long edges, and we're going to top stitch again. So we're going to clip this, make sure that they line up. And see how like the print's facing the right direction? That's just be cognizant of that. We're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch going on the very top. There's a lot of top stitching. So pick threads that you really want on the top and on the bottom. This is cute. I'm sorry. This is real cute. All right. So we're going to grab our lining. And we're going to place this on there. And then we're going to base 1/8 of an inch going on the box. Okay, so I'm notoriously bad at basting. So because I know a basting stitch is like a 5 or a 6 or whatever. I just keep it on the same stitch. I have no idea what. You know what? It's lazy. Being lazy. Oops. That's why you stop it, kneel down. All right. So we basted it. And then when you're on page 5, we're going to make some marks real quick. And I'm just going to use, let's see, what do I want to use? Some mark. I don't want to use chalk because all my chalks are like pink and white and they'll show up. As I keep dropping stuff. Let's see. It's weird because that's like, I'm just going to use a Tandy leather pen. So we're going to do marks all the way until 1/4 of an inch on the top. And just get a mark that's close as you possibly can to the color that you want to achieve. 1/4 of an inch on the top. Okay. So we're going to leave tails because we're going to pull the top threads, only the top threads to the back before we put some rivets in it. I told you, rivet. This is a rivet, definitely a rivet project. So if you've been like, oh, I want to try rivets, but I'm afraid this is the project for you. Do not backstitch on the top part. Go down, and then the bottom layer you do backstitch at the very bottom, but at the top we want to keep long threads so we can pull and get a really sleek look. Long tails. We're going to go to the back. Pull these to the front. Tie them. See, I'm so used to sewing with a Mon thread because it feels different than the Gutterman's 40 weight versus the Mon. It just, I don't know, it really feels lighter to me. I haven't put my finger on it what it is, but you could put a little piece of tape or some fray check when it's working. And it just pours out. Okay. And then, because we pulled the threads to the back, that looks really neat and clean. We're going to punch holes right at the top. So that way we can have a nice divider pocket with a really cool finish. And you're going to just punch a hole right at the top where you pull the threads at. Do not punch where the threads are, or you tie them for no reason, and it would not be fun to redo. All right, get some rivets. I got it. Let's see. When I'm sewing, I drop everything. All right, so we have this really cool pocket where you can put your cell phone, pens, pencil, lip balm, whatever. It's pretty cool. All right, then the next step is the zipper pocket. Now we've made a couple zipper pockets. You're going to put your facing on here, follow the measurements, and then the facing goes to the back. Once you do, you're going to put double-sided tape on the zipper and create a pocket that's inside that is completely already done. You're going to leave the bottom part open so you can sew. You can help pull the lining to give it a clean closure. Now we're going to take the linings and we are going to start at 3/8 of an inch and then bear down to 5/8 of an inch so they could be a nice tight fitting in the bag. Here's the thing with this, you're going to have to leave a 6 to 7 inch opening on the side to pull through the bag. So you see on my side I have double-sided tape following the lines that I made from 3/8 of an inch to 5/8 of an inch. So that way when we finger press them, they're already the lines are already together, and it'll be easy to match up when we're top stitching. It helps with making everything really even. So we're going to start at 3/8 of an inch and veer down to 5. So from here to here, we're going to have a little bit of opening. So I'm going to make this at 3/8 of an inch and definitely backstitch a lot. Then I'm going to bring my threads. I'm just pulling my threads up so that way I'm not wasting thread. And go down. Okay. Just cutting all threads. Okay. And then 5/8. I'm going to start at 5/8 of an inch and go down 3 inch because this is the top. Okay. Cut off the threads. And then what I'm going to do is take my double-sided tape, peel it, and put the seams going this way. Now you could trim the seams. You could trim the seams, but not where the hole is, so that way you can reduce less bulk. But I'm just taping them back. I caught the double-sided tape on that one. I just want to make sure that I'm going to trim the seams on this side. This is super bulky. But where the pocket is, 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Same thing on this side. Just reducing the bulk some. All right. So we have our lining and we have our exterior. This is a good time to put your tag or logo. Next, we're going to insert the main lining exterior right sides together with the zipper pocket being in the back. Doing right side together, making sure that the zipper goes in the back. Just tucking it in there. I'm putting seam to seam, clipping. Trying to make sure I get the handles out of the way and the trying to just get everything lined up as best as I can. I'm just clipping. It fits really nicely. It's a nice fit. She always has like everything fitting where you're not trying to do like a million clips to ease it in. You can still put a million clips if you're like me, that's like, hey, I just want everything to be centered. Okay, a few more clips. So we are going to put these together. We're going to use a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to be sewing from the inside, and I'm using again a 3.5 stitch length, 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch. Make sure raw edges touches raw edges. Just shift and adjust, shift and adjust. Okay. All right. So we're going to pull this lining out. Because we're going to be doing some top stitching. So I can birth it a couple times, but okay. All right. So I put my tag right here, and we are going to we're going to top stitch this lining using 1/8 of an inch. This is okay. This part was super awkward for me, but it will work out. Kind of just roll it and just make sure that the pocket's not in the way. This is where if you have a domestic and you have a free arm, it is a miracle. Because what I'm about to do is this shoving technique that is not fun to do at all, but it needs to be done. So I'm going to make sure the handles, everything is out of the way. And I'm going to pull my threads, and I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to back stitch a few stitches, and I'm just going to, I know it's awkward, but it's important. And you're just making sure the seam allowance is underneath you, because you're basically top stitching that down. We're almost done. almost done. Okay, so we are done. Top stitch this, cutting threads, cutting threads. Okay, so now I am going to unbirth this, turn this back wrong sides out because we're going to attach the bottom. Okay. Alright, I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to grab the bottom. So I have the lining bottom and let's see. Hold on one second. I have the lining bottom and now I have the main. Okay. So with the lining, there are measurements to get the most accurate half circle, and you're going to draw the lines based off those measurements. Then she has you going in from the measurements in a 2-inch box. So once you do this 2-inch box, you have your purse feet placement. So I have 1 foot more to put in. So I'm going to put it through this hole, open up these purse feet. You know how, like, I don't know about you, but my washer always, like, somehow magically disappears. I'm going to put the purse feet down. I'm definitely putting some duct tape on this because I get, yeah, that's about right. I get cut every single time on the purse feet. Alright. So we are going to now assemble the bottom. You're going to align one center point with the center point on your exterior, and then you're going to match the other center point. And then you're just going to so some people staple. I am petrified of the staple, but I understand why people like it, because if you have it, you can just staple within the seam before the seam allowance. Like you staple at 1/4 of an inch, and I'm doing this for you guys because if I will get stuck in the eye. So you're doing it within the seam allowance, but not where the stitching area is. And you can cut it off. And this is just like a stapler from Staples. They're like cool, like really cool ones. But again, I'm testing this out with you guys. I don't staple because I'm afraid of them. So when I was little, my abuelita, my grandmother had, she was really into like town meetings or whatever, so she had me staple these brochures. And then there was a person there, a young lad, a young man that was there with me, and he took the stapler and stapled, like with a big metal, like the gun ones, he stapled on my knee. I still have that staple mark scar on my knee. It's very faint, but every time I look at it, it makes me a little afraid of staples. Just a little. But I understand, like, because then you don't have a million clips in the way. I get the appeal. All right. I have like 2 more areas that I'm going to staple. Okay. So I stapled it. That's so far so good, okay? The girl hasn't freaked out yet. The operative word is yet. We're going to do this at 3/8 of an inch. And it's awkward because it's in a tubular space, but you got this. You can totally do this and not sew over the staples. All right, 3/8 of an inch. We're going to put this needle down. And we're going to not sew over the staples. Not sew over the staples. Just, if you could find the rhythm of your machine and just maneuver things, you got this. Wrinkles could be below, but not above, because then it'll show. Just move your tube with you. Getting raw edges with raw edges. We're almost there. All right, so I did it. It worked pretty awesome. So we're gonna trim this down to 1/4 of an inch. Do not cut the staples because it could be a mark on your, it can mess up your scissors. Okay. All right, and then we're going to do the lining. I might do the staple thing again. All right, staples be gone. So we're going to do the lining. We're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. Okay. I'm going to line it up with one line. I might have to get, I know there's like some like really cool ones that are like heavy duty and the hand feels better. I'll do some research on it. Okay, I'm still a little bit afraid, but you know, conquering your fears and all that. I gotta admit, it's like way better than clips because I guess you know it's completely out of your way. I just have to get better at like doing it at 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. That way, it's really not in my seam. We're at the home stretch. All right, let's do this. We're gonna go 3/8 of an inch. Backstitch, and I know it's a lot to maneuver because the bag is long and one side's a little bit heavy, but we got this. We can totally do this. It's not a problem. I always feel like the lining is easier to do because it lays flatter. I mean, it's not as much bulk. Now we do have this bulk behind us, but just you can maneuver it. Okay, and we're going to trim this down to 1/8 of an inch. and maneuver this back around. Okay. Now we are going to pick up the papers that fell on the floor. And we are going to birth the lining birth the bag through the lining. So let me just get these strings, cut out as much as thread as you possibly can and get them out of your way. You're going to stick your hand in that hole that you made that was 5 to 6 inches, and you're just going to kind of smush down your bag, and you're going to birth it. Make sure you birth it easy so it doesn't I like to take all the handles and straps out of the way, and it'll come easy. Oh, that's not good. I'll be able to fix it. I think I didn't backstitch enough. A couple of the stitches popped, but that's cool because I didn't cut down the seam allowance a lot on that side, so I'll be able to get it when I close the lining up. Stick in your hands and just getting the crease of the bucket bag. You can get a blunt. I have a tool here, just go around the seam just to kind of poke out. All right. We're going to stick the lining in, and we're going to roll down some of the exterior to go towards the interior. Just give me a roll this back up real quick. The straps are really trying to come out. All right, so with this, we have a measurement of 1 3/4 that we're rolling this down to. So I'm just going to get my handy dandy and where I'm going to start. I'm going to clip where I'm measuring, make sure it's even across the board. And you really want to take your time and measure it to make sure that it is the same amount so it doesn't like look lopsided or crooked. You put all this time in it. Just put time into measuring. Just have one other area, and then we're going to top stitch this and then put some rivets. All right, so you could top stitch it like by flipping this outwards and going down across it, or you could pull the bag inside out. Birth the bag right, the lining outside out, so you can top stitch it good. I know it's tedious. You're like, I just birthed this bag, but there's not a lot of interfacing. There's not a lot of material, so it's easy to birth inside out real quick just to get that top stitching, especially if you have a flat bed. Now, if you have a domestic and you have a free arm, this bag is the bread and butter for domestic machines, especially because most domestic machines have a free arm without the clips popping out. Okay. All right. So you're going to not sew down the handles. You're going to top stitch the edge at 1/8 of an inch. Now she does recommend you using a skinny foot so that way you can get the perfect narrow stitch. And I'm going to put that on my machine real quick. The narrow foot. If I can get my screwdriver in. All right. So I'm going to start. We're going to have long tails. And we're going to pull the tails out on the side so that way we can tie them off so there's no back stitching on the top stitching. All right. You can start in a corner if you wish. The narrow foot helps tremendously because you could just line up the edge of the foot to the lip and it's a beautiful thing. And just breathe. You totally got this. Okay, so we're going to leave long tails because we're going to pull the tails. And then while you're in the back, while it's like this, just you pull the threads back. And then you take the threads and you are going to thread them into the lining and you're going to tie them off there. And the reason why I said do it, you're already here, so just thread them, and then grab the other two and thread them too. I could get them in the big hole, an eye hole, and I'm just like missing it nonstop. Okay. So you just take your threads that you have back here and you're just going to tie them off. So that way they are nice and secure. And you don't have to cut them off per se because they're just going to be in the lining anyway. Alright, so I'm going to turn this right sides out. I know this is a lot of birthing. I just like a nice clean top stitch, and I feel like inside out gives like the best top stitch for me. Alright. So we're on page 26 still, and we're going to put rivets in the handles. So you're going to just you're going to put it in the center above. So you're going to grab, we're going to go measure out 3/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to put my little marker and find the center and do 3/8. If I can find myself. If I can, I could just do one more. Just want to punch a hole. Okay, punch a hole. I know this is scary because you're like, hey, I just finished this bag. I don't want holes in it. I don't want to mess up. So just follow the measurements and you'll be fine. Okay. I'm just putting the rivets in. I'm just putting the caps in the back, and then I'm going to move to this side real quick and do the same thing. Measure 3/8 of an inch. Mark it. And mark it. Punch a hole. Okay. And then I'm going to just set them. set them. I can move all these straps out of the way. Hi, Roxy. I know, I see you too. You're very pretty. My puppy decided to come enjoy. I know, puppy. Alright, so we have our rivet set, and then now we're going to get down, we are going to get to the installation of the strap. So what you want to do is you want to close your bag with a magnet and kind of fold it in on itself a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I got it. It's nice and folded. See, I'm going to take this strap and I'm going to bring it around. And I'm going to basically see where I'm going to put my lock and how I want it to set, because you want it to be as even as possible. I think I'm going to put it there. So I'm going to make a mark on my bag. I swear I keep having pins and then they just disappear. I'm going to put a mark on my bag, an X, because this one, this turn lock is a little different, because it has like, it looks like a jigsaw. We'll see in a minute. It has like this cool twisting, and like I said, I thought it was really cool for this particular style, for this printed bag, because I don't know, it looks, I don't know, mysterious, I guess, or cool. So I'm going to go where my X mark is and then put my prongs kind of at an angle. And I'm going to make sure your lining is completely out of the way, because you don't want to poke a hole through your lining. That's why the hole for turning the bag is on a certain side, so that way you don't have to maneuver so much. I'm going to poke a hole to my 2 slash marks. Be very careful not to get the lining and not to get your fingers, because yeah, both of that would suck. Okay. All right. I'm going to put the washer in the back. And then I'm going to stick some duct tape on the back too, because I don't want that area to rub against the fabric and put wear and tear, unnecessary wear and tear. Okay. Okay, we got that part. And before I close up the lining, I want to just triple check. I mean, wrap this, wrong one, wrap this around. That's so cute. Okay, I'm feeling this a lot. All right. So we did page 27. We're going to now, on 28, we're going to take the lining. We're going to pull out our pocket. And then we're going to grab the lining so we can close it off. It's a lot of like little mini burpings, I feel like. But it's totally worth it. So we're going to grab the lining. And we're going to move this out of the way and stitch this down using the seam allowance, the 3/8, and it kind of veers to 5/8. And it helps when my machine actually threads, keeps the thread. I'm just dropping everything. It's fine. It's fine. And my thread broke again. I'm telling you, I'm not a big fan of this gutterman. I don't know what it is about my machine. It just does not like this thread. It's like that sometimes with certain machines. Like my Bernina loves like Orfill and Salva thread. Every machine for me, I feel like something different. Okay. Back to this back stitch. Okay. I'm going to stick the lining back in the pocket. This is a good time to see if you want to poke out any more corners. I mean, in the circle. Okay, so we're going to tuck the lining in, and then we're going to take the pocket and we're going to sew it up. Pop a few pins or clips. And we're going to sew the pocket out. 1/8 of an inch back stitch. Make sure your handles are out of the way. Put your pocket in. It would help if I missed a layer of the pocket. Yep, that's about right. I'm going to sew that closed again. Okay. Poking out the corners in there. Alright. So now we're just going to do the straps. And this is like the easy part. You're gonna put the straps in. You can put some straps in, make it like super fancy. So you're gonna make sure that these panels kind of twist. This way, going down across. Just put a slider in through the hole, back and up on the slider. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, take one of my strap-ins. I'm only going to need 2. All this plastic. I know that's hard to sort hardware. I don't think I can ever do that. I don't have the patience for that. People that do it, I always am like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. And we're going to put a strap in on this so it can look really nice and clean. And then we're going to rivet it in place. Like I said, a lot of rivets, totally worth it. Screwing these in. And then before I'm gonna set the rivets in, but not like fully set them until I have the other side done with it. All right. So I like to pop just like 2 rivets in the holes in the middle, just to give it that extra security. All right. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna do the other side real quickly. I'm like smushing the heck out of my bag. Through the slider. Through the square rectangle ring. And put a strap in. One more screw. Okay. And then we do the same thing, put two. I have to unscrew this because I have the pretty side on the wrong side. That's typically me. You know, at least I caught it. You could put like a drop of turn lock or glue in the where the screws are, or you can put freight check if you have it, like just to give it that extra security if you wish. But the screws pretty much don't let the bag go anywhere unless you unscrew it. And we're almost done. We're just gonna put these other rivets in and then set it, and I'll show you what it looks like all complete. Okay, and then I will set this. I think this bag comes together relatively fast. It doesn't have a lot of components. It is definitely a fun beginner bag because I could just completely see given to people for the holidays that are coming up, and or just to carry around if you're not a purse person and you're like, hey, I'm a backpack person, but it's like a different kind of backpack. The fact that it has that really cool lock in the front just gives it that extra security that you know no one's going to come behind and open up your bag. You also have the magnet, as well as it has some really cool, you have your zipper pocket and you have a really cool phone pocket. So with that being said, I'm going to put this bag together like so. Rolling my seam. And we have our bag that is fully complete. Oh man, I really like this bag. It has that cool slouchiness. It's very soft to the finish, and like you have unbelievably cool hardware. Like the possibilities are endless. Like I said, I made a suede one, and now I made one out of a fun backstitch print that is the Goonies, and it's just a very classy and fun bag to carry around. Alright, so we just finished this tutorial. Like I said, there is a lot of rivets, and that gives it the extra security. You have these really great handles, so you can just pick it up and go. I really like this bag. It has like a fun slouchy feel to it. It's not structured at all, really. It only has like some structure on the back from the Decaville light, but this is fun. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you want to see another back tutorial for Mora Rosa or someone, just please leave a message down below. I greatly appreciate everybody watching, and please let me know if the view was a little bit better. Constantly a work in progress. Nothing's ever perfect, but we're getting there. If you can subscribe, hit that notification button, like and comment, I would greatly appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a fantastic day. And until we meet in the next video, I'll see you later. Bye.